Hello, hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week. Welcome to our show titled Speak of Africa. The show of today is entitled Cameroon WIKI-LEAKS. Of course, you remember Julian Assange, right? The guy who came up with WIKI-LEAKS, which focused on exposing wrong actions, wrong things done by different governments. He ran into trouble. He hid in the Ecuador embassy. They were trying to extradite him to the United States. So WIKI-LEAKS created so much terror because he exposed so many wrongdoings of governments. And most of these countries purported to be democratic were trying to kill him. So today we have a whole lot of secrets that we want to reveal about the Cameroon government. Okay? The way we look at it, Cameroon WIKI-LEAKS. Cameroon WIKI-LEAKS means we're going to expose a lot of secrets that the government is hiding from you. Okay? These secrets are going to come out. That's what the show of today is about. Because there are so many wrong things that the government is doing. Do you know that Cameroon is a political time bomb? Did you know that? Cameroon is a political time bomb. The bomb would break out and a lot of people are going to die. So watch it. This bomb is just like a dairy bomb. It's just like an IED, an improvised explosive device made in the bush, not with a lot of sophistry. That's just what Cameroon is like. At any time, it can burst. So many things are happening. After this ordeal, the election crisis, the post-electoral crisis, Cameroon is still going through this conflict. On the one hand, you have the former president, Paul Biya. On the other hand, you have the elected president, Issa Chiroma. So the two people are still jockeying for power. The drama has not ended yet. So people were thinking, after the swear-in Paul Biya, it will be the end of the drama. They will crack down. And of course, the crackdown continues. The unrest continues. Far from Cameroon, far from Nigeria, Issa Chiroma now is in Gambia, Banjul. You remember Banjul? This is the country of Yahya Jammeh. Yahya Jammeh is the former dictator of the Gambia. For those who don't know the Gambia, this is a country ruled by Adama Barrow. Adama Barrow is a Gambian who stood for election in his country from London. His circumstances resemble the circumstances of Issa Chiroma. What happened to Adama Barrow mirrors exactly what is happening now to Issa Chiroma. So actually, Issa Chiroma has left the comfort of Nigeria. He has traveled to Banjul, Gambia. That's where he is seeking refuge. And the government of Gambia has come out and spoken why they are keeping him in their country. They are keeping him temporarily. They are saying that they are keeping him on humanitarian grounds. They're trying to protect him because they feel that his life is threatened in La République du Cameroon. Of course, this is true. Since the post-electoral season, you notice that threats against Issa Chiroma have been increasing every day. Initially, the people thought they could create rings of protection around him, but that did not really work because the government of Paul Biya continued sending thugs to come and capture him. Finally, Issa Chiroma sneaked into Nigeria, going through Yola. Even in Yola, Cameroon was putting pressure, trying to extradite him, even though Cameroon and Nigeria do not have an extradition treaty. Nigeria made a mistake during the days of Muhammadu Buhari. The NERA 10 were extradited to Cameroon when Cameroon and Nigeria do not really have an extradition treaty. What basically happened was that Buhari collected bribes from the Cameroon government and just did something that was wrong. There's the principle of non-refoulement. But Buhari still went ahead and sent these people to Cameroon. Tinubu is not going to repeat this mistake. So Tinubu is very, very shrewd. He's a very shrewd politician. What he has done, he's trying to negotiate the problem by sending Issa Chiroma Bakari to Gambia. He's keeping the heat off Nigeria. Then Issa Chiroma is further away, so it will be difficult for Cameroon to just pick him up and take him to Cameroon. Pick him up from Nigeria and take him to Cameroon. Because those Cameroonian guys are very dangerous. They may be persistent, making a lot of effort to pick up Issa Chiroma. So it is safer if Issa Chiroma is in Banjul, Gambia. And when you look at what happened to Adama Barrow when he was contesting the election with Yahya Jammeh, Adama Barrow came from England, stood for election, he won, Yahya Jammeh lost, but Yahya Jammeh refused from leaving the presidential palace. So Adama Barrow had to orchestrate an African force, and the international community had to marshal the forces of the international community so that they can bring an army to force Yahya Jammeh out of the country, out of power. Yahya Jammeh did not relent until the forces that were supposed to take him out were at the border between Gambia and Senegal. That's when Yahya Jammeh finally agreed that he would leave. So when we look at what happened to Yahya Jammeh, we know that Paul Biya is not going to take it easily. He's going to be tough. He's not going to quit. He's not a quitter. He's not legit. But he says, I'm too legit to quit, which is a lie. His people don't want to leave. They have been preparing for war for so many years, and they don't want anybody to take them out of power. They have been preparing. They have a lot of money, and they have been shedding blood. In fact, some of the secrets we're revealing to you now, there have been a lot of movements of the army. A lot of soldiers have been moved around. That's what is happening now in Yaoundé. They are moving them around for strategic reasons. It's more like a form of repositioning. Why are they doing all of this? Because they are afraid of a ceremonial coup. A ceremonial coup would work for them. When we look at what has just happened in Guinea-Bissau, we think what has happened in Guinea-Bissau can happen in La République du Cameroun anytime from now. A ceremonial coup is more like a palace coup that is organized to keep the government in power by using tricks. In the case of Guinea-Bissau, what happened? Umar Sikoyo Embalo pretended that soldiers have staged a coup d'etat against him. We know that this is not true because a lot of election observers have said this. Former President Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria was in Guinea-Bissau. He saw things firsthand. The coup d'etat was a sham, was fake. How can you just announce that, oh, soldiers have made a coup d'etat against me? When soldiers organize coup d'etat, according to President Goodluck Jonathan, they will not let you, the sitting president, to be free to roam around and be making speeches, to be talking to the international community. They will restrain you, okay? They will put you under house arrest. They will watch you, so you cannot make any moves. But Umar Sikoyo Embalo was free. So we just knew that he orchestrated this coup d'etat because they were supposed to announce the results of the presidential election the next day. So he forestalled this announcement because the announcement was going to show that Diaz, the challenger, won the election. Then he, Embalo, lost the election. So he did not want this announcement to be made. So he pretended that the soldiers have staged a coup d'etat against him so that they should take over power, so Diaz should be prevented from taking power. Because the French have their hand in this drama. France has their hand in this drama, which is why you see that the French are always playing a role in African politics. That will not happen. France doesn't want change in Africa. France doesn't like change that can make Africa move forward. France believes that Africa should maintain its neo-colonial posture. France will continue exploiting the resources of Africa. African resources are for France, not for Africans. That's what France is preaching in Guinea-Bissau. And this is what France preaches even in La République du Cameroon. Cameroon's resources are for France, not for Cameroonians. If you are a leader who is going to serve the interests of the people, France doesn't warn you. Even now, Amazonia is still burning. Amazonia is burning. If you're doubting, every day, people are taking their eyes off the ball of Amazonia. But every day, we get information that fire is burning in Amazonia. What happened this week? Take a look at some videos I'm going to share with you. The guys are still wreaking havoc. They are still killing soldiers from La République. But a lot of the news goes unannounced, which is why we want to take this time to share this information with you. Take a look at this video. Gendarmes were killed. The guys used IEDs, improvised explosion devices. These are homemade bombs. Then they put them on the road. The soldiers come with their armored cars, and these bombs break those vehicles. They explode, and all the soldiers die. You can look at pictures showing the corpses of those soldiers. But nobody's talking about it anymore. People are just focusing on the concentration of mass arrests, mass graves in the eastern part of La République du Cameroon. That's what they are focusing attention on. But death continues happening in Amazonia. So take a look at this video. Thanks for watching the video of Amazonia. So you can see now that France is playing a dirty role. France will not let Amazonia to be free because France is enjoying the resources that are coming from Amazonia. The oil, the oil, the oil. Then of course the gas. Look at the Bakassi. Look at Victoria, Limbe. All that oil and gas, that's what is fueling France's machine. Without these resources, France would degenerate into a third world country. France is having a tough time. You can see France has been having a lot of political instability. They've been changing the prime ministers. And why is this happening? Because the resources are not there. France has been built as a welfare state. They need a lot of resources to run this welfare state. They need resources from Africa to make this happen. Without the resources in Africa, France would degenerate into a third world country. They don't want this to happen. That's why they cling to the resources of Africa. Francophone Africa is in trouble because France doesn't want to let Francophone Africa go. They need those resources. And in the international community, America supports France. That's the sad thing. You think that America, a country that was built on the ideal of freedom, the ideal of democracy, we support people in Africa who are struggling for democracy. No, America is not supporting them. America is taking sides with France as their ally. Okay? So that's the surprise that we're getting. But you see now that there's a whole lot of trouble. There's a whole lot of trouble in La République du Cameroon. We're thinking that a coup d'etat may take place because when we look at the tea leaves, so many things are happening, so many changes are taking place, okay? A ceremonious coup d'etat is going to take place. A ceremonious coup d'etat is a fake coup d'etat. It's a coup d'etat that is organized. The purpose of this coup d'etat is not actually to overthrow Paul Biya. The purpose of this coup d'etat is to prevent Issa Chiroma from taking over power. That's basically why they're going to stage this coup d'etat. Because the guys in Etudi, the presidential palace, are making a lot of calculations. And Lady Macbeth, who is Chantal Biya, is sitting there with most of these Bulu Betty guys. So they are making plans. What do we do next? How do we deal with the threat of Issa Chiroma? That's the question they keep asking. And we get information that shows us that they are trying to do everything possible to neutralize the Chiroma threat. They have been making plans to assassinate Issa Chiroma directly, to eliminate him physically. Those plans have always failed. They made those plans to eliminate him in Garoua, they failed. They made plans to eliminate him in Yola, Nigeria. They failed. Before they could get to Issa Chiroma has left Nigeria now for the Gambia. So now the talk of war has to deal now with Gambia. Gambia is playing a depth hand. They are not only saying that they are supporting Issa Chiroma, but we know they are supporting Issa Chiroma. Right now, there are a lot of background negotiations taking place between Gambia and La République du Cameroon. And of course, within this backdrop, there is also the force of ECOWAS, the EU, and the UN. How is this issue going to be resolved? On one side, they are saying Issa Chiroma should accept the position of vice president in a new government. Paul Biya remains the president. But who is going to be the secretary general? Of course, Chantal wants Ferdinand Gongo to remain the secretary general. That's her boy. If Ferdinand Gongo remains secretary general, it will be easy for Chantal to continue ruling the country with strings. France will tell her what to do, then she will tell those guys to obey the orders of France. That's how things have been happening. In fact, that's how things have been happening since 2018, when Biya stole the election from Maurice Kamto. Biya has not been running the country. Most of the time when you see Biya, he sits in a room just like a little child who is disoriented. Things are happening around him. He doesn't even know what is happening in Cameroon. Yet, he's hangers on. This is Cabal, wants to continue running Cameroon using his image, using his name. He has already delegated his signature to Ferdinand Gongo. Ferdinand Gongo can sign for him. And now you begin to see the problems that are happening. Secrets happening. Ferdinand Gongo is a spendthrift. Cameroon has a big time deficit. They are looking already at their 2026 budget. And they already have a big time deficit. Look at the deficit. It's big. Louis-Paul Motaze, the Minister of Finance, is already talking about this deficit. Cameroon needs money from the International Monetary Fund. Are they getting it? No. When the International Monetary Fund, as a Bretton Woods organization, they look at the dangers, the security risk. They don't see how they can pump a lot of money into Cameroon right now. But Cameroon needs this money desperately to survive. We hear the government may not even have money to pay workers soon. They may struggle to pay soldiers, but most of the average workers will go without pay. So this is going to create a whole lot of shocks. Then now, Issa Chiroma is putting pressure on the system. He's declaring more ghost towns, more civil disobedience. These actions are going to hurt the Cameroon economy a whole lot. That's what is going to happen. They're going to hurt the Cameroon economy a whole lot, and it's going to slow down economic activities furthermore. This is not good. But that's the reality on the ground. Ferdinand Gongo, Biya's people are really tired of him. Because already what is happening in Etudi, there is a fight for succession. You have Biya's clan, which is the Bulu clan. They are supporting Frank Biya to take over from his father. In this clan, you have people like Louis-Paul Motaze, Betty Asomo. But Chantal is not with these guys. These guys want to keep the status quo. They want Frank Biya to take over from his father and run the country. So they've already proposed a new government. You'll be surprised to hear that even after Biya has stolen the election from Issa Chiroma, he's not been able to form a new government. Why? Because his wife Chantal does not want to let go of Ferdinand Gongo. The Bulu clan has already made new appointments. Ferdinand Gongo has been sent to the Minister of Exterior, Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he's been kicked out of presidency. Mvondayolo, he too has been kicked out. He has been given a different ministerial portfolio. He's not going to be in the presidency. So all these guys don't want to leave. They don't want to leave because they want to stay in power. And the Bulu guys are prepared to fight so that they can entrench their interests in the system. Similarly, Chantal Biya also does not want to leave. Ngongo is the face of our cabal. Ngongo is running the country. She tells Ngongo what to do. She gets her instruction from France and executes them. My friends, that's how Cameroon is run. Isn't it a disgrace? A woman without even high school education is the one running a country. Then you are surprised that things are not working well in the country, right? Why would you be surprised? This woman does not even understand concepts, academic concepts. When you talk about a budget, does she know what a budget is? No, she knows that, oh, she can steal money from the treasury and spend with joyful abandon. Nothing will happen to her. Ferdinand Ngongo is been exposed. Stole COVID money. Shared it with Chantal. What happened to him? Nothing. So these are kleptocrats. A government of thieves, for thieves, and by thieves. How is Cameroon going to develop when you have people who are running a government and they are stealing money that should have been used to build hospitals and schools for the country? How can the country develop? How can Cameroon have roads, good roads, when the money that is destined for development projects is stolen, is siphoned into offshore accounts in the Panamanian Islands, Switzerland, and other leisure world areas? How can a country develop like that? That's why there's a problem. And of course, France, the colonial power, wants to maintain a neo-colonial chokehold on Cameroon. France doesn't want to let Cameroon go. So that's why France will not accept Russia to take over Cameroon. Because if Russia takes over Cameroon, that's like suicide for France. That's why France is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that Russia doesn't take over La République du Cameroon. The same thing happened in Gabon. When Brice Oligui Nguema came in, what happened? They just faked a ceremonial coup d'etat and he took over. Just like the coup d'etat that has just taken place in Guinea-Bissau. Ousmane Sonko also has come out swinging. Even though his country, under Diomaye Faye, has accepted Umar Sissoko Umbalo as a refugee, he doesn't think this president of Guinea-Bissau has been deposed in a coup. It's just a ploy. Because right now we hear that Umar Sissoko Umbalo has left Senegal to Congo Brazzaville. So where is he going to go next? That's what we don't know. But from this video, we're letting you know that ceremonial coup d'etats are unconstitutional. They hurt the country. They create problems. Look at like the one that has just happened in Cameroon. I call it a ceremonial coup d'etat. This one is more of a constitutional coup d'etat, but it's still ceremonial. But if they realize that this doesn't work, then they will actually topple Paul Biya and keep their guys in power. So that way, Issa Chiroma will not be able to fight with the military guys to take over the country. Look at what happened in Gabon. They will just do the same thing. So Guinea-Bissau, Gabon, they offer very good examples of the manner in which France manipulates African countries to maintain a chokehold on the resources of those countries. Then you ask me, how are these countries going to develop? They cannot develop because the money that they should use for their development is stolen by France. Then the money is also used by the friends, the allies of France, because the elite enables this theft of the national wealth. That's what is happening. They are enabling the theft. So France is not acting alone. I'm not blaming France alone. In every dance, they say it takes two to tango. So it takes France and the African elite that is corrupt to activate this corruption that is taking place in those countries. So we've seen this, and we ask ourselves, how can we ensure that there is no more unconstitutional or ceremonial coup d'etats? by having good governance. Good governance politically, socially, economically. That's the way out. We don't have any more time, but we want to tell you, good governance is the only way out. We don't support the idea of one guy or a cabal taking care of things for themselves, seizing the apparatus of state, then stealing all the money. Nobody can talk. That's what is happening. So long as this happens, we're going to have problems in Africa. We think we've revealed a lot of secrets to you in this video, and we're asking you to share this video so that more people can get this information. Share and like it, share it with your friends, and like the video. Thank you very much.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.